Asia, good evening America. You're watching World DNA with me, Hemkor Saroya.
And I'm Diksha Bisla, and on the show today, US President Donald Trump meets with South Africa's Cyril Ramaphosa, discussing claims of white genocide with a video presentation alleged to depict the ongoing atrocities. Of course, we're going to get you all the details on the show today.
Also on the show today, Israeli troops fired warning shots as foreign diplomats visited the occupied West Bank, sparking outrage. Israeli military says sorry for the inconvenience. We'll of course be bringing you the latest on all that's happening in West Asia, but first the headlines.
Turn the lights down and just put this on. It's right behind you.
We don't care. We can do whatever you want to do. Who are you to tell us whether we can occupy land or not?
US President Donald Trump confronts South Africa's Cyril Ramaphosa with claims of white genocide during Oval Office meeting. Plays video of alleged genocide being committed against white people.
Sorry, I don't have a plane to give you.
During the White House meeting, Cyril Ramaphosa says that he does not have a plane to give Trump, as Pentagon says that it has accepted a 747 jetliner as a gift from Qatar.
We are conscious that we have an ability, if we so choose, to complete the Golden Dome with investments and partnership. And it's something that we are looking at Wilson House.
Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney says it is looking at potential investments in US President Donald Trump's proposed $175 billion Golden Dome missile defense shield.
Benjamin Netanyahu says he is open to a temporary ceasefire in Gaza as international pressure intensifies over Israel's renewed offensive. Prime Minister reaffirms that the Israeli military aims to bring all of Gaza under its control by the end of its operation.
Israeli troops fire warning shots as foreign diplomats visited the occupied West Bank, sparking outrage. Canada, Uruguay summon Israeli envoys, while Mexico demands full explanation over the shooting near Jenin city. Israeli ministry says sorry for the inconvenience.
Police and protesters clashed outside the Argentine Congress on Wednesday after lawmakers failed to meet the necessary quorum to vote on a pension hike.
En la calle para enfrentar este gobierno.
India declares Pakistan official at its High Commission persona non grata for involvement in activities incompatible with their official status. Asks him to leave in 24 hours. Pakistan follows suit and expels an Indian High Commission official in Islamabad.
Heavy rain and thunderstorm disrupts life in several parts of India. At least 13 flights diverted at the Delhi airport due to heavy rain and thunderstorm.
Bitcoin soared to a record high of over $109,000, fueled by growing optimism around US crypto legislation. The surge marks a new all-time peak, surpassing January's previous high set during Donald Trump's inauguration.
Tottenham end their 17-year wait for a trophy. Brendan Johnson's first half goal helped Spurs beat Manchester United to win the Europa League and qualify for next season's Champions League.
And Indian actor Aishwarya Rai makes her Cannes appearance dressed in a Manish Malhotra sari and sindoor. The Cannes regular looks stunning as she walks the red carpet.
Now, before President Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa arrived at the White House for a meeting with Donald Trump, he had said that he was hoping to get something good out of the face-to-face meeting.
But instead, he was confronted by the US president about claims of white genocide. The ties between US and South Africa have taken a nosedive during Trump's second term. Ramaphosa said he wanted a reset during the Oval Office meeting, and for several minutes he was doing really well. And then it all changed.
Nearly 20 minutes into the meeting, the US president asked the lights to be turned low, and then his aides went on to play a video that he claimed proved genocide is being committed against white people, driving farmers to flee to the United States.
We don't care. We can do whatever you want to do. Who are you to tell us whether we can occupy land or not? Can we drop my membership from this useless parliament? Yes, honorable member. Must never be scared to kill. A revolution demands that at some point there must be killing, because the killing is part of a revolutionary act.
Well, after that, Trump brandished a sheaf of newspaper cuttings about recent killings in South Africa, saying the country's white farmers have faced death, horrible death.
What would you like President Ramaphosa to do about the situation that we've just seen on the screen?
I don't know. Look, these are articles over the last few days. Death of people. Death. Horrible death. Death. I don't know.
A stunned Ramaphosa disputed Trump's claims, clarifying that the politicians seen during the video were from a minor party in the opposition.
Let me clarify that, because what you saw, the speeches that were being made, one, that is not government policy. We have a multi-party democracy in South Africa that allows people to express themselves, political parties to adhere to various policies, and in many cases, or in some cases, those policies do not go along with government policy. Our government policy is completely against what he was saying, even in the parliament. And they're a small minority party, which is allowed to exist in terms of our constitution.
He also insisted that most victims of South Africa's notoriously high crime rate are black. He also denied that his country confiscates land from white farmers under a law expropriation law signed in January that aims to redress the historical inequalities of the apartheid rule.
There is criminality in our country. People who do get killed, unfortunately through criminal activity, are not only white people. Majority of them are black people. And we have now
The farmers are black. The farmers are not black. I don't say that's good or bad, but the farmers are not black. And the people that are being killed in large numbers.
But this did not seem to faze Trump, who went on to make more claims about land grabs and killing of white farmers. Then Trump began to talk about the recent gift of a jetliner from Qatar. Ramaphosa retorted, saying that he did not have a plane for the US president.
I'm sorry, I don't have a plane to give you.
I wish you did. I'd take it. I would take it. If your country offered the United States Air Force a plane, I would take it.
But despite the showdown, Ramaphosa insisted that his visit was a great success. After the meeting, Ramaphosa told journalists that he was positive that there would not be further rupture in US-South Africa relations.
So I was rather pleased that there's a firm agreement and undertaking that we're going to continue engaging. So there's no disengagement. For us, that was one of the key outcomes that we had wanted.
And for more on this, the correspondent Carlton Ongmu has sent us this report from Johannesburg. Listen to this.
South Africans stuck to their TVs and phones to watch the much-anticipated meeting between President Ramaphosa and President Trump at the Oval Office on Wednesday. Every small details, like the handshake, was being closely watched. While some South Africans seemed frustrated that Ramaphosa did not clear the air on genocide, others applauded him for remaining calm, collected, and stately throughout. Some experts have described Ramaphosa as a clever negotiator and said he was very strategic in choosing his entourage. In places where he needed to speak, he did, and the rest he let his entourage do the work. Most South Africans on social media said that Ramaphosa handled the entire situation quite well and even went on to say that they were glad that Trump did not give the floor to his deputy Vance nor Elon Musk. Overall, most South Africans believe these talks are off to a promising start and there's reason to be cautiously optimistic. This is Carlton Ongmu from Johannesburg, South Africa for WION World is One.
Our correspondent Susan Tehrani has also sent us a report from New York. Take a look.
Never a dull moment at this White House, notably in the Oval Office. President Donald Trump's meeting with his South African counterpart sent one clear message, that the United States is not going to stay silent on difficult issues. In a bold move, President Trump raised concerns about land expropriations and the reported killing of white farmers, something most leaders have so far avoided speaking about with the South African leader. By doing so, he underscored his commitment to property rights on the one hand and human rights on the other, even when it's politically sensitive. At the same time, Trump extended a hand on trade and investment and expressed his desire for stronger U.S.-Africa ties, one that it's built on fairness and mutual respect. At first, it appeared that the two leaders were getting along just fine, talking about foreign policy and even focusing on the sport of golf, President Trump's favorite sport. The South African leader even brought along two South African golfers as guests in a nod, again, to the American president's favorite sport. But after a journalist brought up the issue of white farmers allegedly being killed and the South African president answering for Trump, the U.S. president was ready and ordered the lights be dimmed, playing that disturbing video for the call to kill white people, notably white farmers in South Africa. Susan Tehrani reporting from New York for WION World is One.
And Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said that he is open to a temporary ceasefire in Gaza.
This as international pressure intensifies over Israel's renewed offensive and aid blockade in the war-ravaged Palestinian territory.
Well, Netanyahu said that he would only agree to a temporary truce to release the remaining hostages, noting that 20 of the 58 hostages held in Gaza since October 7, 2023 are known to be alive, and Israel will employ military and political pressure together to bring them back.
If there is an option for a temporary ceasefire to free additional hostages, and I emphasize a temporary ceasefire, we'll be ready.
In an hour-long press conference in Jerusalem, the Israeli Prime Minister laid out his conditions to end the war, which he also included the implementation of U.S. President Donald Trump's resettlement proposal. Netanyahu said the war in Gaza will continue until Hamas is disarmed and the Palestinian enclave is under Israeli military control.
I am ready to end the war on clear terms that will ensure Israel's security. All the hostages return home, Hamas lays down its arms, steps down from power, its leadership is expelled from the Strip, meaning whoever remains of it, Gaza is completely disarmed, and we implement the Trump plan, a plan that is so correct and so revolutionary.
Netanyahu also said that Israel has probably killed Hamas leader Mohammed Sinwar after an Israeli airstrike on a hospital in southern Gaza earlier this month.
We have a very organized plan. We started in Gaza. We eliminated tens of thousands of terrorists. We eliminated the murderers, Mohammed Daif, Ismail Haniyeh, Yahya Sinwar, and probably also Mohammed Sinwar.
Meanwhile, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio in a congressional hearing voiced guarded optimism for a solution pretty quickly to end the Gaza war.
I've said this a number of times in the past, so I don't want to get over my ahead of myself or over my skis, but I have some level of optimism that we may have breakthrough achievements here pretty quickly, hopefully, on an end to this and the release of all the hostages.
Furthermore, after an 11-week blockade on supplies entering Gaza, the Israeli military has said that 100 trucks with aid were allowed to enter the Palestinian territory through the Kerem Shalom crossing on Wednesday.
However, these minimal supplies have not made it to Gaza soup kitchens, bakeries or hospitals, according to aid officials in local bakeries that were standing by to receive the supplies.
Humanitarian groups have said that the amount falls far short of what is required to ease the crisis. A US-backed private group, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, said it will start moving aid into the territory in the coming days. The GHF has said that it will distribute some 300 million meals in its first 90 days of operation. The United Nations and traditional agencies have said that they will not cooperate with the foundation, which some have accused of working with Israel.
On the other hand, hundreds of families in various parts of northern Gaza fleeing Israeli strikes continue to head towards Gaza City. The International Organization for Migration said more than 97,000 people were displaced in the past 4 days. Now, Israel is facing the heat with several nations voicing their outrage over its troops firing near a group of 25 foreign diplomats visiting Jenin in the occupied West Bank.
The visit was part of an official mission organized by the Palestinian Authority to access the humanitarian situation. Now, this footage that you see on your screens right now shows the delegation and accompanying journalists running for cover as shots are heard. The Israeli military said the visit was approved, but the delegation deviated from the approved route and Israeli soldiers fired warning shots to distance them from the area.
However, the Palestinian Authority accused the troops of deliberately opening fire to intimidate the diplomats.
UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres' spokesman called the incident unacceptable. He stressed that the safety, viability of diplomats should be respected at all times. European Union Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas urged Israel to hold those responsible accountable.
We definitely call on Israel to investigate this incident and also hold these accountable who are responsible for this, and any threats on diplomats' lives are unacceptable. As Israel is also a signatory to Vienna Convention, has the right, the obligation to guarantee the security of all foreign diplomats.
Several countries that had representatives in the group condemned Israel's actions and demanded an investigation. Belgium, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, Portugal, Spain and Uruguay summoned Israel's ambassadors or said that they would raise the issue directly. Egypt denounced the shooting as a breach of all diplomatic norms, while Turkey demanded an immediate probe.
While Mexico said it would demand clarification from Israel about why its army fired shots during the visit by foreign diplomats, including 2 Mexicans. The Mexican foreign minister said there was no record of the diplomats having entered an unauthorized area, countering claims by the Israeli military.
The incident came as anger mounted over the humanitarian crisis in Gaza, where Palestinians are scrambling for basic supplies after weeks of near-total isolation. Since the beginning of the Gaza war, the West Bank has seen a surge in violence.
Now, in a separate incident, Israel's military announced it has eliminated the perpetrator of an attack that left 1 pregnant woman dead in the occupied West Bank last week. In a joint statement with Israel's internal security agency and the police, the army said that its forces were approached by an armed man in the town of Brooklyn near the site of the last week's attack. Now, he was running towards the forces while holding a backpack suspected to be rigged with explosives, shouting at them as they were conducting search operations.
And a new round of high-stakes talks between the United States and Iran is set to take place in Rome on Friday.
Well, both countries have confirmed their attendance following mediation efforts led by Oman.
This will be the fifth round of nuclear negotiations since the 12th of April, marking the highest level contact between the United States and Iran since US President Donald Trump abandoned the 2015 nuclear deal during his first term in 2018.
The talks aim for a new agreement that would curb Iran's nuclear activities in return for sanctions relief. Western countries, including the US, have long accused Iran of seeking to acquire atomic weapons, while Iran insists its nuclear program is for peaceful purposes.
Both sides, however, remain deeply divided on the critical issue of uranium enrichment. Iran currently enriches uranium up to 60% purity, far above the 3.67% cap set by the 2015 nuclear deal, but still below the 90% needed for a nuclear weapon.
Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei and senior leaders cast doubts on the talks, calling the effort unlikely to yield results. He also called denying Iran's right to enrich uranium a big mistake.
We have previously responded to these unreasonable demands. Repeating an unrealistic, illogical, and irrational position does nothing to legitimize that stance. No matter how many times American officials repeat it, it will not change the essence of the matter. Our position is completely clear. I have stated it clearly before, and I repeat it. Uranium enrichment in Iran will continue, with or without an agreement.
Now, this comes after US key negotiator Steve Witkoff voiced opposition to any Iranian uranium enrichment and said that an enrichment program can never exist in Iran. The US has maintained that any deal must eliminate Iran's capacity to enrich uranium, a demand that Iran calls non-negotiable.
Meanwhile, according to Axios, Israel is preparing for a possible strike on Iranian nuclear sites if the Rome talks collapse. It says Israeli forces have ramped up military drills and are preparing for a week-long military campaign if diplomacy fails. Prime Minister Netanyahu said that while Israel will welcome an Iran nuclear deal, it will retain its right to defend itself if the need arises.
Iran remains a very serious threat to Israel. We are, of course, in full coordination with the United States. We are talking to them all the time, and we hope that if they can reach an agreement that will prevent Iran from having a nuclear weapon, that means that it will prevent Iran from being able to enrich uranium. If this is certainly achieved, we will of course welcome it. But in any case, the State of Israel reserves the right to defend itself against a regime that threatens to destroy us.
With Israel on high alert and red lines drawn on both sides, the Friday meeting could determine not just the future of Iran's nuclear program, but also of peace and conflict in West Asia.
Kiev's military command warns that Russia is stockpiling ammunition, rotating elite units, and rehearsing complex assaults.
This comes at a crucial time when the push for peace is gaining traction, with Moscow, Kyiv, and the United States all saying that they are ready to talk. Pope Leo XIV says that he is ready to host the talks in the Vatican. Our next report packs all these details. Take a look.
The war in Ukraine is entering a deadly new phase. With summer on the horizon, Russia is intensifying its attacks, hammering Ukrainian positions with waves of artillery, drones, and airstrikes. The battlefield is heating up fast. In Sumy, Russian missiles rain down on a Ukrainian military training center. The Russian Defense Ministry released these images of the strike, a chilling message of precision. In the southern city of Kherson, Ukraine reports an unrelenting barrage. Entire districts have been left in ruins. Civilian shelters are overflowing. Power grids flicker under sustained attack. The pressure is mounting. But the bigger worry for Ukraine are intelligence reports. Satellite data and frontline activity all point to a chilling conclusion. Moscow is preparing for a massive summer offensive. Not skirmishes, not drones, but a full-blown multi-front assault designed to shatter Ukrainian defenses and redraw the map. But Ukraine isn't backing down. Kyiv launched a massive retaliatory drone assault, and Russia claims to have intercepted 159 drones in a single night. Proof that Ukraine too is gearing up for a summer of fire. Russian President Vladimir Putin made a high-profile visit to the Kursk region, his first since Ukrainian forces were ousted from the area. Putin rarely visits areas near the front line. At the same time, the diplomatic front is shifting. The Kremlin denies delaying peace negotiations. And US Secretary of State Marco Rubio believes Moscow may present ceasefire terms within days.
So what we're expecting now, based on the President's phone conversation yesterday and my conversations over the weekend with Mr. Lavrov, is that at some point here fairly soon, maybe in a number of days, maybe this week hopefully, the Russian side is going to present terms that they would want to see, just broad terms that would allow us to move towards a ceasefire. And that ceasefire would then allow us to enter into detailed negotiations to bring about an end to the conflict.
Now even the Vatican has stepped in, with Pope Francis offering to host Ukraine peace talks. Kyiv has also signaled openness to direct talks between President Zelensky and Vladimir Putin, a moment that could redefine the war. Ukraine stands at a crossroads. The fighting is escalating and the diplomatic clock is ticking. The world watches anxiously, knowing that the next moves on the battlefield and at the negotiating table could decide the fate of the war. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
All right, with that, it's time now for a short break.
But don't go anywhere. On the other side of World DNA, an Indigo flight from Delhi to Srinagar with over 220 passengers encountered severe turbulence due to inclement weather, causing panic on board.
Tottenham ends their 17-year wait for a trophy. Brennan Johnson's first half goal helped Spurs beat Manchester United to win the Europa League and qualify for next season's Champions League.
The Earth is sending distress signals. Wildfires, droughts, and melting glaciers. Can we reverse the damage? Explore the harrowing effects of climate change. It's a wake-up call. Global emergency. Climate Tracker on WION World is One.
To bring the benefits of the Subhash Chandra Show to your educational institution, teachers and students, send an invitation to Juhi Jha at juhi@such.org.in.
Catch me on Token Money Magnet as we yield the power of tokenization only on WION.
Welcome back to World DNA. Thank you so much for staying with us. Lots lined up for you on this side of the show as well. Let's get started with the headlines first.
India declares Pakistan official at its High Commission persona non grata for involvement in activities incompatible with their official status. Asks him to leave in 24 hours while Pakistan follows suit and expels an Indian High Commission official in Islamabad.
Benjamin Netanyahu says he's open to a temporary ceasefire in Gaza as international pressure intensifies over Israel's renewed offensive. Prime Minister reaffirms that the Israeli military aims to bring all of Gaza under its control by the end of its operation.
Israeli troops fire warning shots as foreign diplomats visited the occupied West Bank, sparking outrage. Canada, Uruguay summon Israeli envoys while Mexico demands full explanation over the shooting near Jenin city. Israeli military says sorry for the inconvenience.
Turn the lights down and just put this on. It's right behind you.
We don't care. We can do whatever you want to do. Who are you to tell us whether we can occupy land or not? Can we drop my membership from this useless parliament?
US President Donald Trump confronts South Africa's Cyril Ramaphosa with claims of white genocide during Oval Office meeting. Plays video of alleged genocide being committed against white people.
I'm sorry, I don't have a plane to give you.
During White House meeting, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa says he doesn't have a plane to give him, as Pentagon says it has accepted a 747 jetliner as a gift from Qatar.
We are conscious that we have an ability, if we so choose, to complete the Golden Dome with investments and partnership. And it's something that we are looking at Wilson House.
Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney says it is looking at potential investments in US President Donald Trump's proposed $175 billion Golden Dome missile defense shield.
Heavy rain and thunderstorm disrupt life in several parts of India. At least 13 flights were diverted at the Delhi airport due to heavy rain and thunderstorm.
Asia Pacific markets dipped following Wall Street's sharp sell-off. Japan's Nikkei fell over 1%, while South Korea and Australia saw declines. Investors remain concerned about rising US Treasury yields and a growing budget deficit.
Indian actor Aishwarya Rai makes her Cannes appearance, dressed in a Manish Malhotra sari and sindoor. The Cannes regular looks stunning as she walks the carpet.
Twenty-four-time Grand Slam champion Novak Djokovic wins his first match on clay this season. The second seed beats Martin Fucsovics to reach the quarterfinals of the Geneva Open.
Djokovic demande 0, 6-6-1, tout ça c'est là. 6-2-6-3.
China is reportedly accelerating the delivery of J-35A fighter jets to Pakistan. Now, with reports suggesting that the aircraft could potentially arrive in Pakistan as early as this year.
Reports also suggest that Pakistan has already dispatched its first cadre of fighter pilots to China to commence training on the J-35A platform. The accelerated delivery timeline reflects China's growing strategic alignment with Pakistan.
J-35A is China's second fifth-generation stealth fighter after the J-20. The twin-engine fighter jet is capable of achieving speeds over 2,400 kilometers per hour and can hold up to 4 medium-range air-to-air missiles like PL-15. The fifth-gen fighter jet sports enhanced stealth, network integration and intelligence capabilities.
Interestingly, another report says that China has established a dedicated export office to market the J-35A, an unprecedented move in Beijing's military aviation diplomacy, and Pakistan would be its first export customer.
Well, earlier this month, Pakistan relied on Chinese tech and weaponry during the conflict with India. With Beijing fast-tracking the J-35A, Pakistan may again become the testing ground for China.
Now, this comes as Pakistani Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar is in Beijing, where he met his Chinese counterpart Wang Yi. However, Dar was not accorded a red carpet welcome usually given to visiting Pakistani dignitaries, describing the China-Pakistan friendship as ironclad. Wang Yi affirmed that China will always firmly support Pakistan in safeguarding its national and territorial sovereignty.
Well, not only this, an Indian think tank and Center for Joint Warfare Studies says that Beijing backed Pakistan during its recent standoff with India.
The Director General of the Center for Joint Warfare Studies says China assisted Pakistan in adjusting its satellite coverage over India in the 2 weeks between April 22nd massacre, in which 26 tourists were killed, and the beginning of active hostilities.
The time China did incursions in eastern Ladakh along line of actual control in 2020. From then onwards, China and Pakistan nexus has moved to a different level. That includes the launch of the satellites of Pakistan for information gained by Chinese, the interlinkage of satellite information exchange between the two countries, export of large number of air defense radars given to Pakistan, as well as the J-10, J-17 category of aircraft, submarines and whatnot. Actually, you'll be surprised to know that 80% of defense equipment today in Pakistan defense inventory is from China only. So these structures were already placed in Pakistan in advance in anticipation of, if India does something next, because in 2019, India had gone across by doing the Balakot strike and Pakistan was surprised. So this kind of preparation was being done because Pakistan was very sure that they will do the terrorist attacks in Jammu and Kashmir or in any other part of India because terrorism is part of their statecraft.
While the Indian government has not revealed or confirmed China's involvement, the findings, if deemed accurate, would imply that Beijing would have also extended logistical and intelligence assistance to Islamabad.
I think the risk of increased Chinese influence in Pakistan is very real and very concerning. And the evidence of these Chinese fighters, their effort at a fifth-generation fighter, is proof of what's been publicly reported, that Pakistan buys as much as 80% of its sophisticated weapon systems from China these days. That's a real strong piece of evidence of Chinese influence. And I think you might attribute some of the tension here to China, that's using Pakistan as a proxy to increase tensions with India, to put a threat in place on India's western flank.
And an Indigo flight from Delhi to Srinagar with over 220 passengers encountered severe turbulence due to inclement weather, causing panic on board.
Well, the plane navigated through an unexpected hailstorm that damaged a small portion of the aircraft's nose.
A video of the terrifying mid-air incident has gone viral on social media, showing passengers screaming, crying and praying as the aircraft shook violently. As seen in these images, the cabin appeared chaotic with overhead bins rattling and people clutching their seats in fear.
An emergency was reported by pilot to ATC Srinagar. An official of the Aircraft Authority of India said that the flight landed safely at Srinagar at 6:30 p.m. IST.
While the airline did not specify any damages, a viral image on social media showed that a portion of the aircraft's nose was broken due to the impact of the turbulence.
A hailstorm accompanied by heavy rain with wind lashed several parts of the country on Wednesday evening. In capital Delhi, at least 13 flights were diverted due to heavy rain and a thunderstorm. A source said 12 flights were diverted to Jaipur and one international flight was diverted to Mumbai.
Now, in a fierce gun battle stretching over 50 hours, security forces gunned down 26 Maoists in India's Chhattisgarh, Narayanpur district.
The dead included Nambala Keshav Rao, alias Basava Raju, who's a top leader of the banned CPI Maoist party.
Basava Raju carried a bounty of over 1.5 crore Indian rupees, which is equivalent to $175,000, and was wanted by police forces of India's Telangana and Andhra Pradesh states. Union Home Minister Amit Shah said this was the first time in over 30 years that a General Secretary-ranked Maoist leader had been neutralized by the security forces.
District Reserve Guards carried out the operation after receiving specific intelligence on the presence of senior cadres in Maoist in Narayanpur.
The Narayanpur district in Chhattisgarh neighbors the Bijapur district that has been a hotbed of Maoist activity. Along with Narayanpur, simultaneous security operations were carried out in Dantewada, Bijapur and Kondagaon.
The encounter comes a month after Indian security forces undertook its Operation Black Forest along India's Chhattisgarh-Telangana border. Now, in the 21-day-long operation, India's Central Reserve Police Force joined hands with state police and neutralized 31 Maoists carrying a combined reward of over 1.76 crore Indian rupees, which is about $200,000. Amid the operations, India's security personnel busted 214 Maoist hideouts and bunkers. And there's some roaring good news from India's western state of Gujarat.
Majestic, powerful and once teetering on the brink of extinction, the Asiatic lion is finally making a comeback here.
The vulnerable big cats are found only in Gir forest. Their population has increased by over a third in the last 5 years. Now, census figures show that the population of Asiatic lions has risen by nearly 32%.
There were only about 523 Asiatic lions in India back in 2015. According to the latest census, their numbers have now climbed to 891 from 674 in 2020. There are 196 male lions, 330 females, 140 sub-adults and 225 cubs.
Well, all thanks to sustained conservation, better habitat management and community involvement. The recovery of Asiatic lions is a national success story. Once limited to the Gir National Park in Junagadh and Amreli, the big cats now roam 11 districts.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has credited collective efforts for steady rise in the population of the Asiatic lions.
Multiple steps have been taken under the guidance of Prime Minister Modi to conserve Asiatic lions. Lions of Gir are the symbol of Asia's unique forest life and culture.
The Asiatic lion, which historically once roamed from the West Asia to India, is now reduced to an isolated population in the wildlife sanctuary. Hunting and human encroachment caused the population to plunge to just 20 by 1913. But now the Gir has become a global model for species recovery. Authorities say improved prey availability, water sources and 24/7 monitoring have played a crucial role.
Central and state government work together to allocate funds for Project Lion. Fund allocation has increased by 50% in last 3 years.
The lion may be the king of the jungle, but in Gir, it is also a symbol of national pride. With continued care and planning, India is proving that coexistence between man and the beast is not only possible, but also powerful. The crypto industry cheered the progress on historic stablecoin legislation as the Senate advances the Genius Act.
Bitcoin option traders are setting their sights on much higher prices, while the OG token reached its previous all-time high of over $109,000. In this next report, we decode the bill and what it means for the crypto industry. Take a look.
The US Senate advanced a landmark bill regarding stablecoins called the Guiding and Establishing National Innovation for US Stablecoins of 2025 Act, or the Genius Act. Some fintech giants have accepted dollar-pegged stablecoins, a type of crypto asset. Earlier this month, several crypto-friendly Democrats withdrew their support for the bill. They had claimed that without more revisions, it would put consumers, the financial system, and national security at risk. As a result, the bill was rejected by the Senate back then. In negotiations, since they have won several concessions from Senate Republicans, more than a dozen Democrats voted to advance the revised bill this week. Senator Mark Warner, a Democrat from Virginia, said the Genius Act was imperfect but far better than the status quo. He said, "The stablecoin market has reached nearly $250 billion, and the US can't afford to keep standing on the sidelines." Warner added, "The Genius Act is a meaningful step forward. It sets high standards for issuers, limits big tech overreach, and creates a safer, more transparent framework for digital assets." Bitcoin options. Traders are setting their sights on much higher prices. The wild bet now is for the OG token to hit $300,000. While speculative for the extremely volatile asset, the bets show the path of least resistance is more to the upside. A more realistic bet is for Bitcoin to reach a new life high of $110,000. Despite the extreme volatility, cryptos have outperformed major assets this year, including record-setting gold. During the height of the tariff war, gold surged to a record high of over $3,500 an ounce, and cryptos followed and surged more than the yellow metal. Now, with a reversal in risk assets, Bitcoin has surged along with stocks. The $8.6 trillion rally in the S&P 500. Since its April lows is a telling story. Still, the OG token is a bigger winner, far outperforming US stocks. Business Bureau, WION World is one.
And over to sports now, where Tottenham Hotspur's 17-year-long wait for the trophy has finally ended.
Ange Postecoglou's side defeated Manchester United 1-0 to win the Europa League in Bilbao. Both clubs went into the game under massive pressure after hugely disappointing Premier League campaigns. But Postecoglou proved he is not a clown and fulfilled his promise of always winning something in his second season. Tottenham and United both had early chances with shaky defences on display. Brennan Johnson and Mapsa came close for Spurs, while Amad Diallo missed for United.
Well, just before half-time, Sarr delivered a cross to the front post, where Johnson scored to give Spurs the lead. In the second half, Bruno Fernandes and Alejandro Garnacho tested Tottenham's defence. Mickey van de Ven cleared a header for the line from Rasmus Højlund. Spurs held strong, and after a crucial save from Guglielmo Vicario to deny Shaw's header in added time, they secured the Europa League title. Well, it's Tottenham's first major trophy since winning the League Cup in 2008.
It's also their first European triumph since lifting the UEFA Cup in 1984. With the win, Spurs also secured a place in next season's Champions League. The visuals on your screen right now show what this victory means for Spurs fans. Jubilant supporters celebrated on the pitch of the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in London before flooding the streets after the triumph.
Dream come true, 100%, and I believed it from day one that we can win the Europa League, and today's the final day that happens, and more than happy. Lucky is the guy, happiest guy in the world.
I still feel there's a lot of work to be done. I think that's quite obvious, but not as much work as people may think. People can bang on about our 20 league defeats and where we are, but they're missing the point of what we're trying to build here, or what I'm trying to do anyway. And I really feel that tonight can, be a great platform for us to kick on.
The defeat piles more pressure on Manchester United coach Ruben Amorim. The Red Devils have now lost 22 matches in all competitions this season in a forgetful campaign for the club. They sit on the 16th place, just ahead of Tottenham in the Premier League. United will miss out on European football next season for only the second time since English clubs were readmitted by UEFA in 1990. They will play in the EFL Cup in August.
In the future, I'm not going to talk about the future, because tonight we need to deal with the loss in the pain of losing this match. What I can say that I think was clear, we were the better team, but then we managed not to score again, and that is really hard to win football matches. But the guys tried everything to win the game. The future, we'll have time to assess everything.
Very disappointing.